Okay.
The sound of keys typing erupt off screen. We open to Julian, a middle-aged man sitting in his cubicle. He calmly reaches over, grabbing his mug that reads Party Animal. While taking sips of coffee, he then glances over to the newspaper, sitting beside him. The headlines read, Apocalypse debunked yet again. We live another day. Julian picks up the paper.
Apocalypse. Yeah, right. Why are people so
Oh,
ass?
crap.
I mean, this isn't the first who tried to predict the end of the world. I remember this whole Mayan calendar crap a few years ago that everybody turning into preppers. I think it's stupid so many people can put so much thought to the end. I mean, over the present. I mean, look at this. 1805, destruction of the world by earthquake. 1997, Heaven's Gate. A group of 39 people committed suicide. They're actually convinced that this would allow them to hop aboard an alien spaceship that followed Comet Hale-Bopp. 39 people committed mass suicide over this crap. Really? I couldn't make this stuff up. Dating all the way back to 365 AD, Hilary Portieres. It was a man, by the way. But this man predicted the end of the world in 365. In their beliefs, the world hasn't been around that long enough, and he's already attempting to throw in the towel. What? And now here I am, 2015, January 1st, and no end of the world. No UFOs, no solar flares, no comet hailing, and no return of Cthulhu. Cthulhu, I'm sorry, of Cthulhu. No, bitch, just me, a cubicle, and another shitty day.
Julian drops the newspaper on the table, showing the headlines Another Day. A revolver lies under the bed, discarded and unnoticed. Julian's eyes crack open as he reaches his arm over to the nightstand. He grabs his glasses that lie next to an MP3 player and an alarm clock. The clock reads 6:29 a.m. and switches to 6:30 a.m. As it rings, his hand slams down, stopping it in mid-beat. Julian brushes and flosses his teeth, and then showers. He opens his closet and looks at his wardrobe. He leers down at a box in the corner, but then directs his attention back towards his suits. He grabs one off the rack as he closes the closet. He buckles his belt, buttons the top button of his shirt, and puts on his blazer. He reaches the fridge, grabbing a Tupperware of ingredients. He pulls out 2 slices of wheat bread, which gets placed on a cutting board, followed by cheese, ham, and a squirt of mustard in the shape of an M. He reaches toward a bowl on the counter, grabbing a green apple, placing it and the sandwich in a brown paper bag. As he walks toward the door, he grabs his MP3 player and inserts his earbuds. Julian locks his front door and goes to an empty parking spot to find his car has been towed.
Seriously?
Julian does a quick scan of the parking lot.
No. I know I parked here. You've got to be fucking kidding me.
Julian looks down the parking lot, lets out a sigh, presses play on his MP3 player, and begins walking.
Matt, you're the motivational speaker.
Oh,
Alright.
Thank you. Very motivating.
Steps to building self-motivation. How to motivate yourself, written by Rob Flattery. Sorry, I didn't know that. You have no personality, low self-esteem, and have driven yourself into a safe routine life. And if you want to excel, you need to remember these 3 steps. Have a cause, be hungry, and let go of the past. Step 1. I can't think of a more powerful source of motivation than a cause you care about. Such a cause can inspire you to give your best, even in the face of difficulties. It can make you do the seemingly impossible things in life.
Julian walks up the busy street, heading toward a newspaper stand in front of his job. As he's fiddling with his MP3 player, he accidentally bumps into a woman walking in the opposite direction, which knocks his earbuds loose. He instantly scrambles for the MP3 player, and then turns to the woman in anger. The woman turns to Julian. She has long, flowing hair, lips paved with red lipstick, and her body wrapped in a red and white polka dot dress. Julian immediately humbles himself, holding back his anger. He fumbles over his words, attempting to work out an apology, but a mixture of anxiety and fear won't allow it, as the woman stares at him in confusion. Julian turns toward the newsstand slowly and grabs the newspaper while avoiding eye contact. The woman continues to awkwardly stare, as Julian grabs the newspaper and scampers away. Julian sits at his desk on the computer with a headset on.
Good morning. Thanks for calling X-Core Tech Support. This is Julian speaking. Can I have your ID number, please? I have your first and last name, please? Is there a number that I can reach you at in case we get disconnected? Is there a secondary number in case if I can't reach you there? How can I assist you today?
Julian begins sketching as he takes phone calls, outlining a set of eyes.
Thanks for calling X-Core Tech Support.
Julian straightening up his cubicle.
How can I assist you today?
Julian browsing on his computer.
Thank you and have a great day.
Julian looks at the clock and gathers his things for lunch. Julian stands at an elevator door, patiently waiting as the television next to him plays an X-Core Tech employee video. Julian sits in the break room alone, eating his lunch and watching the X-Core Tech video, which plays on repeat. Julian walks out of work and looks toward the newsstand to see if the woman from earlier is around. With no luck, he begins walking through the streets to get home. As Julian reaches his place, he sees the woman with the polka dot dress and stops. The woman is digging through the trash can outside his door. Julian stares at her and then attempts to speak. The woman slowly turns in Julian's direction and stops digging. Julian hurries past her into his motel room. Julian locks the door and goes to the window as he unsubtly peeks out, staring at the woman. She continues digging through the trash.
What in the hell is she doing?
The toilet flushes. Julian comes out of the bathroom shirtless with pajama bottoms. Julian goes into the kitchen toward the fridge. The fridge contains 3 rows of Tupperware, all containing ingredients for a ham sandwich. Top row all labeled breakfast, middle row lunch, and bottom row dinner. Julian grabs his dinner Tupperware and closes the fridge. Julian sits at the edge of his bed, turns on the news, and eats a ham and cheese sandwich on wheat.
Tonight we are live on the streets as people celebrate another day alive after the apocalypse scare. Yet another prediction has been debunked, and we've been given one more reason to appreciate the lives we live. Let's pull some people off the streets and get their opinion on.
Is that where I say asinine?
Yeah.
Okay. Asinine?
Julian turns off the television and drops back to the bed. He pulls back his perfectly made bedspread and gets under the cover. He reaches over, checking his alarm for the next morning, and then turns off the lamp on the nightstand. A revolver lies under the bed, discarded and unnoticed. Julian's eyes open. He reaches over to grab his glasses that are now in horrible condition. He peels the old stained bedspread off him and reaches over to stop the silent alarm clock that is now frozen on time 11:59 p.m. Daily routine. Julian turns the knob to the sink as brown rusted water bursts through the faucet. He continues to brush and floss his teeth with the water. He then showers in the brown water, allowing it to rain over his face.
I'm gonna love this scene.
He opens his closet and looks at his wardrobe. Only one tattered suit remains in the closet. He leers down at a box on the floor. He then directs his attention back up to his suit. He pulls it off the rack as he closes the closet door. He ties a rope around his wrist, around his waist as his belt, fastens a safety pin at the top of his shirt, and puts a shredded blazer on. 2 slices of moldy wheat bread gets placed on a piece of cardboard, followed by old cheese, ham, and a little mustard. Julian grabs a rotten green apple and places it and the sandwich in a brown paper bag. He then heads toward the door, grabbing his MP3 player and inserting his earbuds. Julian presses play on his MP3 player as he walks to work, passing abandoned buildings and cars. Along the streets and sidewalks are scattered clothing piles of ashes, and assorted bones litter the street.
Steps to building self-motivation. How to motivate yourself, written by Rob Fladry. Step 2, be hungry. Wanting something is not enough. You must hunger for it. Your motivation must be absolutely compelling in order to overcome obstacles that would invariably come your way. Less sprout. Having mere desire won't take you through difficult times, since you don't want things badly enough. In many cases, hunger makes the difference between the best performers and the mediocre ones.
Julian arrives to work and walks toward the rusted newspaper stand, grabbing the only newspaper left. He scans the area in hopes to see the woman, but no luck. Julian sits at his desk, in a once crowded but now empty office space, typing on a broken computer. Julian looks at the caller ID on the phone as if he is receiving a call. He picks up the receiver with a detached cord.
Good morning. Thanks for calling X-Core Tech Support. This is Julian speaking. Can I have your ID number, please?
Julian types on the broken computer.
Can I have your first and last name? Is there a number that I can reach you in case we get disconnected? Is there a second number in case I can't reach you there? How can I assist you today?
Julian lifts and lowers his chair.
Thanks for calling X-Core Tech Support. How can I assist you today?
Julian adds more to the sketch, now adding a nose and a mouth.
Thank you and have a great day.
Julian looks at the broken clock on his desk that reads 11:59 p.m. and gathers his things.
Too many calls today.
Julian passes the newsstand and places the paper that he grabbed in the morning back in. During his walk home, he passes different abandoned areas and he reaches a grocery store. He then notices the woman in the polka dot dress going inside, so he straightens his collar and pulls down his blazer to adjust himself as he walks to the entrance of the store. As Julian enters the store, destruction no longer surrounds him. The store is littered with customers as he grabs a cart. He trolleys down the aisles, grabbing food and seemingly looking for the woman. He begins to mumble to himself as he shops.
Alright, be hungry, Julian. Wanting something is not enough. You must hunger for it. Okay, I'm a lion. A starving lion. Ready to pounce, 'cause I'm so hungry.
Julian arrives at her aisle and pulls himself back out of her line of sight.
Come on, Julian, you can do this. You lion!
Julian tries to browse the aisle casually and picks up some mustard. He looks down the aisle to see where the woman is. She holds a plastic bag in her hand as she shovels random items into it. Julian looks down at his neatly organized cart and then back to her.
Well, that's one way to do it.
The woman looks up at him. Julian jumps back, drops the mustard, and rushes out of the aisle. Julian walks through the streets quickly as he scolds himself.
Why do you have to be so awkward all the time? Lions aren't...
Believe it or not, one of the best demotivators is your past. Your past can
I don't know if that's about
your past can drag you down before you realize it. Your past can give you a heavy burden on your shoulders. The good news is it's a burden that you don't have to carry. You might make mistakes in the past or make poor choices, but it's over. It's already in the past, and there's nothing you can do about it. Today is a new day, and you have the chance to start again. No matter how bleak your past may seem, you still have a bright future ahead of you. And wait.
Julian switches the track to some classic rock and roll as he continues to walk. He slowly begins dancing as he trots along the busy streets. Julian arrives at work and walks over to the newsstand looking for the woman. Without seeing her in sight, Julian bends down to grab his paper, still dancing to his music. The woman, Epiphany, stands behind him confused at his dancing. She reaches down and taps his shoulder to get his attention.
What are you doing?
Huh?
What are you doing?
What do you mean?
Okay, I've been watching you for months now, and you do the same thing every day. You stroll down the street with a dumb look on your face, grab that paper, and go into that building for hours. And then you come back out and put that paper back in that newsstand and stroll down the road with the same dumb look on your face. Are you stupid or something? What are you even doing there?
I'm just going to work.
Work?
Nice. I feel great about my stature. At least I have a job.
She begins laughing at him, first silently, and then he grows hysterically. Julian looks confused and put off. As she continues to laugh, Julian gets angry.
And just what the hell is so funny?
Okay, wait. What's your name?
Julian.
Well, Julian, I hate to break it to you, but if you haven't taken a look around, there is no work. There are no people. There's no one but us.
The people that surround them begin to freeze as Julian begins looking around. The cityscape slowly changes to destruction, and the people disappear. Julian drops his newspaper in shock. Tears begin to fill his eyes as he remembers the day of destruction. Chaos is heard off screen as lights flash across Julian's windows. He sits at the edge of his bed crying. His hand rests in his lap holding a handgun as he watches the news. On television, a slightly inebriated newscaster reports.
I stand here downtown just 1 minute from the moment of destruction. As you can see, there's absolute pandemonium all around. Thank you for allowing me to be your final newscaster here on 4KQK News Station. I assure everyone is with their loved ones going down doing what they love or making love. And oh my God, it's happening. I'm not 14.
Okay. 11.
Julian begins crying more as he drops his gun to the floor. It bounces under the edge of his bed. He stands to his feet and walks around, climbing his bed. He then checks his alarm and then grabs his earbuds. He presses play on his MP3 player and closes
His eyes.
his eyes. A white light shines in, growing brighter by the second, as his bed rumbles and shakes.
Steps to building self-motivation. How to motivate yourself. Written by Rob Flannery.
Epiphany stands staring at Julian as he appears to be in shock. Litter blows through the street like tumbleweed as the two stand off across each other with a look of what's next.
The end.
Alright.
Another day.
Mm-hmm.
Another day.
Another thing.
Thoughts, questions, concerns?
So, no, I'm,
Oh, sorry.
I like I like where it's coming from. You know, I mean, I can see it through from what I've read, especially him, going over as far as the directions. Apparently, from someone watching the movie, you're seeing it through his eyes, so he's still seeing the world working as it is.
Yeah.
And she's like his reality check.
Right.
And that's what it basically is like. Hey, dumbass. What's going on? And there's I'd say a little humorous, but there's definitely a serious twist to this.
Yeah.
So-
Like, your character is very antisocial.
Yeah.
Socially awkward.
Mm-hmm.
Very OCD about a lot of stuff. It's like why he eats the same lunch. Everything is tunnel vision for him.
He's got his ritual. He's got his
Yeah.
routine. And at the same time, like you were asking about during our audition, that's what's holding him, that's what's keeping him going.
Yeah.
Even as you can see through, tattered clothing, moldy bread,
Mhm.
rotten apples, it doesn't matter. He's still going through his thing, so.
Yeah, and I wanted to place it to where, like the end scene where he has like his flashback and he's
Or
on
off.
bed.
Yeah.
Yeah, he, because he's like gonna kill himself because he's gonna make this decision, like finally make like an extreme decision, but instead, he kind of like gets scared and he reverts back to he reverts back to what he knows, which is his routine.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why he throws on his MP3 player. He kind of like drowns everything else
He's
out.
looking for that excuse
Yeah.
not to pull the trigger.
Yeah, so he's just gonna go to sleep in hopes that things are gonna work
Mhm.
themselves out. So then what happens is he ends up surviving the
Yeah.
apocalypse, and it's only you two guys left.
Yeah.
But like the way that I'm setting it up is like mentally, it's so. What happens is so traumatic to him that like his brain kind of like puts him in a position where
Yeah.
he still sees everything.
Yep.
Like everything's still normal to him.
Okay.
That's what I like about it is the visual aspect of it.
Yeah, exactly. Seeing
And,
all.
especially how he visualizes her in dress and kind of stand outish with her red.
Yeah.
So
It's almost like a dream sequence in a movie because there's always he sees something, and I mean with the polka dot dress, it almost makes you feel like 1950s, 1960s, kind of like that,
Very
beautiful
Seinfeld.
housewife kind of thing, because obviously losing his wife and his daughter, well, it's not even in there, but just you kind of gather where he's coming
Well,
from.
so what happened was what you had read. This was actually a monologue for her. It's her monologue, but I just
Oh.
felt like the emotions that it touched on, I could have a guy or a girl read
Okay.
it and get the same thing.
Okay.
So what happens is she actually lost her daughter like before all of
I'm
this.
so sorry.
Which is why like
Okay, because then that would make sense because Homeboy doesn't seem like he even had a wife and a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
I'm like, obviously there was a time where he was,
that's why I'm
he
pissed
had
at
it going
you.
on. He had it going on, and then something went wrong. But
Yeah, I
we'll
was
go
just-
over that in the sequel. I don't know.
I was explaining to her in the audition, but yeah, so like her whole problem with you is that you still see everybody.
Mhm.
Like it's been so long that she almost doesn't even like remember what like people look like.
Yeah.
But you do. So she, in a way, she's like kind of jealous of that.
Mhm.
And she's really like hurt because she can't even remember what her daughter looks like.
Mhm.
So as of right now, she's just in this moment of like just survival. She's just going through life, and she kind of comes along like to see you one day.
Yeah.
It's kind of a shocker.
Right. and just see how I'm actually
Yeah,
interacting.
so
with
she's
the
just kind of like
situation.
studying you and just trying to figure out, you know.
What is this
what-
guy's deal?
And your
What is-
reaction is like, nah. I just bumped into the lady, that's the last lady
Yeah.
on earth.
You're pretty in your polka dots. What do you mean? The end of the world? What? And that's what it basically is. Like, hey, and then that's when you start to realize it. Like that visualization, as far as he's seeing everything. And all of a sudden, people stop. You're seeing buildings, and now you're seeing mass destruction and empty streets. So it's just like, all right, there you go. There's your antidote. Bam. Wake up and smell reality.
It's gonna be hard to shoot.
It's gonna be fun to shoot.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, no, I'm not worried. I'm like, I wrote this because I needed like a tougher challenge from like my last film, so I'm excited about it.
Yeah, I like it.
I think that
It's gonna make you think. That's the thing about it. And that's what you really want to do, because I mean, I was like listening in, but you talk about gore and this and that, dude. And that's basically, unfortunately, the thing about post-apocalyptic movies is there's something that you can really do with it instead of just the obvious. Like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, we need a hero fighting the zombies. We need, but here you got something like it's something that can actually make you think like, what if I really was in that situation? And prime example, December 21st is right around the corner, and believe me, these doomsday preppers that I see on that Geo every now and then, they're preparing me, and nothing's gonna happen. I'm sorry, but I just but still, I mean, we're in that time, and this is like considering the time that it's being done, that's actually gonna make people think.
Yeah.
So.
It leaves it to the imagination
Exactly.
to what
Mhm.
is to come.
Because we've all talked about it,
Of
either
course.
we're in our little groups or whatever, drinking, smoking, whatever. We've all brought it up, and
Yeah.
we've all thought about it. So
Does it help that I'm obsessed with post-apocalypse
Oh,
stuff?
yeah.
Not preparation, just I'm obsessed
yeah,
with
especially where you
what.
get your pills when the world
Yeah,
comes in. I mean,
know.
seriously.
No, actually, my
It's gonna be
friend's
hard to
having
find a
a
good pharmacist.
post-apocalypse party. She said, "Come and dressed as a zombie or a Mayan."
There you go. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to throw a party for December 21st. I'm just like, come on, yeah, let's have fun with it.
since there aren't a lot of lines, it's not really so much on how those particular lines are delivered. I think it's a lot more of
It's the physical.
facial
Yeah.
expressions,
Mhm.
body language, and things like
Yeah,
that.
a lot of this is done like that. It's really gonna be key.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be really important. And I think that in the case of where he's talking to himself a lot, I mean that raises the question: is that part of who he is? Has he always done something like that, or is that part of his broken psyche that would
Well,
he become that?
yeah, and to be honest, like, I'm on the edge about a lot of like what's going on in the script because. Jared. Hello. Hey. Okay. When you come in, okay. So there's a left that you can make. There's a first left you can make. Don't make that left. Go to the second left. It'll be a mailbox kiosk on the corner. And if you come down on the right hand side, it'll be a building that says 700. And come up the first stairway.
Oh,
As far as all the scenery and everything.
Yeah.
awesome.
All right. So yeah, just come all